It's time for the rubber match. The LA Rams head to the Northwest for the second time this year, facing off with a familiar foe in the Seattle Seahawks, who secured the number 3 seed with a fourth quarter flurry last week.
Divisional champs, baby.
The Rams, they picked up win number 10, and they didn't even need their starting QB, running back, or wide receiver to do it. They just needed that top-rated pass defense of theirs.
It's intercepted! A pick six!
LA's defensive play has been as good as it gets this season. The Steelers, the only team with comparable numbers to the Rams.
The best defense arguably in the National Football League.
And they were able to flex their defensive pass muscles against Russell Wilson in their first meeting with him. They picked him off twice and held him to his lowest passer rating of the year.
Talk about physical football.
Wilson looked better in round 2 a few weeks back. No picks, a TD, a rating of 93.9.
Holy catfish, what a catch!
Wilson had a huge year overall, 40 TD passes for the first time in his career, highest completion percentage he's ever had, his rating over 100 for the season. The Hawks' passing attack is a two-headed monster, Tyler Lockett going for over 1,000 yards, double-digit TDs.
Touchdown!
And DK Metcalf going for over 1,300 yards along with 10 TDs as well.
An absolutely perfect rainbow to DK Metcalf.
Metcalf didn't finish strong though, less than 65 receiving yards in each of his last 4 games.
Metcalf had a chance on it.
The Rams were one of the teams that held him in check too, less than 100 yards combined in their 2 games against him. Sacks, of course, were a problem for Wilson in both games, getting taken down 6 times by the Rams in Week 10.
He's sacked again!
And then getting to him 5 more times in Week 16.
That's a sack.
The Rams weren't just taking advantage of a team that gives up a lot of sacks either. LA finished with the second most sacks in the NFL.
You know why we don't get no picks, man? They be getting these sacks.
Aaron Donald, of course, led that charge, 13.5 from the middle of the trenches, maybe enough to land him Defensive Player of the Year honors.
Could not get away from Aaron Donald!
But your team doesn't end near the top of the heap in sacks off one man's work alone, and that's where Leonard Floyd comes in.
And they get to him!
Floyd blew the QB up 10.5 times himself, and he specifically had a knack for getting to Wilson, racking up 5 of them against him alone.
Leonard Floyd collects it again!
Getting up close and personal with the turf was common for Wilson this year, doing so close to 50 times for the season. Wilson is usually able to put up good numbers despite his O-line's play though, to a point. He got sacked 5+ times in 4 games in 2020. He didn't post a rating over 100 in any of them, and Seattle lost 3 of those 4 games. Getting home against QBs, though, is also a Seattle specialty, especially since they acquired Carlos Dunlap.
Carlos Dunlap knocks him right back on his wallet!
The Seahawks flew up the sacks chart over the second half of the year, finishing in the top 10.
You just can't block him.
Leading the way for them, Jamal Adams, 9.5 sacks coming from the back end of the Hawks' D.
That's championship football, dog!
But Adams left last week's game with an injury, and they cannot afford to lose him for this game.
That would be a crushing blow to the Seahawks defense.
In each game against the Rams, Seattle was able to get to Jared Goff 3 times.
Goff gets hit!
When the Rams won, those sacks didn't affect Goff much. He threw for over 300 yards, his rating over 95.
Very nice performance for QB1.
But in round 2, it was a different story. Goff not throwing any TDs, getting picked off once, his rating just 61. Goff also ended up breaking his thumb in that last game and didn't play last week. The expectation is he'll be back, but how will his thumb feel? And it's not like Goff was enjoying a great year even when he was healthy.
Goff gift wrapped that to him.
20 TDs, 13 interceptions, his rating an even 90.
Intercepted at the 40!
The Rams' passing attack mostly ran through 2 guys. Cooper Kupp, the team's leading receiver.
Jared Goff puts the ball where only Cooper Kupp can go and get it.
Robert Woods, though, also put up over 900 yards as well.
What a majestic catch and run from Robert Woods!
Seattle's pass defense was a work in progress over the course of the season. They did allow the second most passing yards per game.
Somebody blew an assignment.
However, as their pass rush got better, so did their secondary. They were allowing in the 350 yards per game neighborhood for a long time. So getting it down under 290 shows how much ground they've made up.
Good defense by Wright.
Their run defense, meantime, was steady all year, and they were steady good as they held ball carriers under 4 a run for the season.
The defense stops them again!
The Rams' rushing attack isn't elite, but it does play a vital role in their game plan.
Cam Akers untouched.
LA was efficient enough toting the rock, just over 4 yards a carry, but they were top 10 in rush attempts when it was all said and done.
Touchdown, LA!
And that's because LA's passing attack relies heavily on play action, using it more often than any team in football.
Fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, to the end zone, caught by Tyler Higbee!
This is a key battle to watch as the game unfolds because Seattle has held QBs to the second lowest rating on play action passes.
The Seahawks pick off the pass and stop the Rams' charge in its tracks.
And what about the Hawks' ground game? You can expect 15 or so carries from Chris Carson, and he usually does good things with them.
Carson accelerates, picks up 11.
But scratching out yards against the Rams on the ground isn't much easier than doing it through the air, as their rush defense is also in elite territory.
And a turnover on downs.
They will have to account for Russell Wilson's legs, over 500 yards on the season on over 6 yards a pop.
He's off to the races here.
Both their previous two games were close. Hard to imagine it being any different in round 3.
This one's always tight no matter what the records are.
They know each other as well as any two teams do. The Rams at least grateful that they don't have to worry about the 12s, but what about the health of their signal caller? Let's see all those predictions fill out the comments section. We have 10 for you this week since it's playoff time, or in this case, Super Wildcard Weekend time.
You're a great coach. Let's have a good one today.